Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Today we're going to be breaking down every single brawler and their best game modes that you should be playing them in. But before we begin, I just want to take a quick moment to thank every single one of you guys for showing so much love and support. Recently we've hit 250 subscribers, and it would not be possible without you guys showing so much support. So I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. But today's video, we're going to be looking at the best game modes for every single brawler, so make sure you watch till the very end. So first we have the shotgun goddess herself, Shelly, and in my opinion, her best game mode right now is going to be definitely Brawl Ball. You know, she's not a great brawler in the meta overall, but if you had to play her in a mode, I would definitely say push her in Brawl Ball because of the combination of her super and her gadget. Like, her star power allows her to slow down opponents, and if you can get multiple opponents slowed down, it allows your team to create so many more opportunities to goal score, as well as on defense. If you need to, make a cool play on defense to stop the goal, it's really important to have that slowdown to give your teammates time. I think a lot of people kind of underestimate the importance of time in this game, and slowing down the opponents creates so many crazy opportunities for your team. Now the gadget's also really good here because you can just get up close and personal, and with Shelly, the most important thing I would say is to try and build up your super, right? Her super is what allows her to create opportunities, whether it's for goal scoring or, for just creating these defensive plays that are really important. You can see the slowdown making such a huge difference, allowing your teammates to hit the opponents a lot easier, thereby creating better opportunities for you. So we're going to be able to get a first goal right there. Really, really nice. Jumping on to the next brawler, though, it's going to be Nita. Now, Nita, I think in my opinion, her best game mode right now is going to be Gem Grab. She's always been great in Gem Grab, but especially with the gadget and Hyper Bear, this combination is absolutely deadly in Gem Grab, where control is extremely important. All it takes with Nita is just one great stun with the Hyper Bear on their gem carrier, and it's completely game over, guys. I would recommend either trying to use a Hyper Bear on their gem carrier or trying to get the Hyper Bear to stun multiple opponents. That's also a very good use. Obviously, you only have 2 uses of the gadget now, so it's really important that you make really good use of them. Stunning the right people and trying to get more than one person is going to be really, really good because you'll be able to chain bears, and that's one of the most important things with Nita, is to be able to chain bears, because essentially you'll just be having a 4th teammate the entire time. Next brawler we're going to be going into is Colt. Now, Colt's best game mode is definitely going to be heist, guys. That gadget giving you so much ammo, so much DPS is going to be so important in heist, and you can just absolutely decimate the safe, guys. Colt is definitely one of the best brawlers in heist. Like, literally, you can never ever leave a Colt alone. It's just going to completely wipe out your safe. In my opinion, Colt should be focusing on the enemy safe the entire time, because that's what he's best at doing, you know what I'm saying? While your teammates are defending, Colt should be always trying to focus on the safe, and that's how you're going to be able to get the most value out of him. He is viable in other game modes as well, but in my opinion, he's just going to be a lot easier to play and a lot more effective in general in heist, because of the high DPS. Especially after the introduction of the gadget, I think you definitely have to be playing Colt in heist to get the best value. The next brawler we're going to be jumping into is going to be Bull. Now, Bull is actually one of the worst brawlers in the current meta. However, I think there is one game mode, which is heist, that he can actually be decent in. I think Bull should always, just like Colt, be attacking the enemy safe, because that's what he's best at. He can do very, very good damage. And personally, I think you should be using the Berserker star power in heist, because that doubled reload speed is just going to allow you to take down the safe a lot faster. Next brawler we're touching upon is Jessie. In my opinion, Jessie is also a very, very poor brawler in the meta right now, but her best mode is definitely going to be in Brawl Ball, where her turret can really bring a lot of value to your team, especially if you have that gadget. If you can slow multiple enemies with that turret and the gadget, you're going to be able to just chain supers, chain that turret, which is really, really important, because Jessie is pretty much only good with her turret. Like, without her turret, she's just completely trash. So make sure you guys are using that turret to its maximum value, using it to slow down opponents to prevent a goal, or whether that's trying to get a nice team wipe so you can get a goal on the offensive side of things. Make sure you're always, equipped with the turret. So that's why the turret placement is really, really important. I think a lot of times people just throw it down on top of the enemy, which is not always the best idea, because you want to make sure that turret stays alive as long as possible. So try to put it somewhere where it's going to get value, but also it's hard for the opponents to take it out, will be my best suggestion for you guys. But you can see Jessie is actually very, very decent in Brawl, because that ball control ability is really good with her. When you have the turret down, it kind of just acts as another teammate, helping you just control the lanes. Really, really effective. And I think even though she's really bad in the meta right now, Brawl Ball is still decent for her. So if you're trying to push Jessie, make sure you're using her in Brawl Ball, definitely. And yeah, next brawler we're going to be jumping into is going to be Brock. I think his best mode is definitely going to be Bounty. He is viable in other modes, like he's pretty decent in Siege. You can play him in like Solo Showdown, of course. But I think the best game mode for Brock is Bounty. You know, a lot of these Bounty maps are long range, which is exactly what Brock needs. Especially with that gadget allowing him to play offensively or playing defensively, it's going to be really hard to kill Brock. Also, the fact that his super allows him to deal so much damage and also cover such a wide range of area is also really important. If you're using him in Bounty, I definitely recommend using Incendiary because the choke points are really easy to control. If you have Incendiary, you're just able to get zone control with that. With the 4th Rocket Star power, it is more damage, but not enough zone control in my opinion. Now the next brawler we're covering is going to be Dynamike. Dynamike is one of my favorite brawlers to play, but unfortunately he's just not that great in the meta right now. However, I would say that he is quite viable in heist. I mean, obviously heist has always been the game mode where he's been decent at. He's also decent in Siege, but I just prefer playing him in heist because I think there's better alternatives for him in Siege. Like you can play Tig, I think you can play Sprout a lot more effectively in Siege, but I think in heist he really shines. He can defend pretty well. He's also decent on offense. Like you can see right there, getting a very nice super right there. Literally all you have to do is hit 2 opponents and you'll have another super again, so it's really easy to chain supers. He does a pretty decent amount of damage, especially with demolition. I think for the majority of people, using demolition will create a lot more value. If you're insane with Dyna Jump, that's also fine, but you can see us chaining the supers, and Dynamike, especially with that new gadget which speeds him up, is going to be pretty viable in heist. The next brawler we're going to be covering is going to be Bo. Now, Bo can be played in a variety of game modes pretty decently. He can be played in, you know, Duo Showdown, Solo Showdown, all pretty well, right? You can pair him with Terra, you know, Tick or Surge pretty well in duos, but I think the best game mode for him is definitely going to be in Gem Grab. Like the ability, especially with the introduction of that new gadget, that instant detonation. If you have the Snare Bear Star power, you can just completely control the center, because anytime the gem carry gets too close, you can just stun them, and that's an easy kill for your team. So I definitely recommend using Snare Bear as well. Look at that, just completely double stunning them right there with that gadget. So effective. And I definitely think that that allows him to get so much control of the center, making him one of the best in Gem Grab right now. And that's definitely going to be his best mode to be playing in. But the next brawler we're going to be jumping into is Tick. Now, Tick, obviously one of the most annoying brawlers in the game, but I definitely think he can be played pretty decently in Bounty. I mean, that's always been his best mode for sure. He can be played in Siege, but I think he's just going to be a lot better in Bounty because his ability to control the zone and just control choke points. Like, once you get a lead with Tick, it's going to be really hard for the opponents to catch up because you can just consistently lay down a nice, you know, control with those mines. Really effective. And also the ability for him to just have that super as well as the gadget just as like escape mechanisms is really good. I think he's one of the best throwers in Bounty for sure. So definitely use Tick in Bounty. Like, there's a lot of good maps like Canal Grand. You can play him on this map right here, play him on Layer Cake. There's a lot of good maps for Tick in Bounty, so I think that's definitely going to be where he shines. I think another thing that people misunderstand about Tick is that even though he's very low HP, like the fact that his range is so good and that you can just like kind of control all the entryways that people can use to get to you. Realistically, his only counter is going to be Mortis, who can just like dash through the shots, but otherwise I think Tick is really solid. Even if the opponent has Mortis, a really big tip for you guys is to always hold your super, have your super in hand, because if a Mortis is about to dash on you and you have your super, it's going to completely take him out, like, and you're just going to be able to take him out, and they're not going to be able to rush you. They're going to be afraid to rush you if you have your super. The next brawler we're jumping into is 8-Bit. I think 8-Bit is definitely going to be best in Solo Showdown. If you guys didn't know, a couple seasons ago, an 8-Bit was able to actually get to 2,500 trophies in Solo Showdown, which is absolutely insane. But I definitely think, especially if you have extra life, guys, extra life in 8-Bit in Solo Showdown is absolutely broken. That extra chance at redemption is just so crazy, so good. And especially I think he has such a long range, guys, and even though he's slow, he still has a decent amount of HP, so he is very hard to kill. And if you have that turret and the gadget, you can just make some insane plays. And I definitely think you should be playing him in Solo Showdown because 8-Bit's just completely garbage in all the other game modes right now. But for the next brawler we're going to be talking about is going to be Ems. Now, obviously, Ems was one of the best brawlers in the game, top 5 for sure, for a very long time, but with all these nerfs that she's been getting, to start power, start gadgets. Like, her gadget radius is so small now that it's just really not going to be the same. Like, Ems is definitely, not a top brawler anymore. Probably still top 15, but not as good as before. But definitely play Ems in Brawl Ball. Next brawler we're talking about is going to be El Primo. Now, El Primo is definitely going to be the only viable mode, in my opinion, is Brawl Ball, because he's a great goal scorer and he has a lot of HP, so he can, kind of tank a lot of damage and kind of just walk it in a lot of times. With El Primo, the most important thing you want to focus on is getting his super, because that's when he can really start scoring goals and making plays. Additionally, why I think he's really good in Brawl Ball is because of his gadget, guys. His gadget allows him to kind of play offense and defense really well. Like, if you're trying to score a goal and there's like a really big blockade, like for example a Frank is in the way, you can just chuck them. And if you guys didn't know, the Frank gadget does not counter El Primo's gadget, so you can still throw a Frank over you even if they use gadget, which is really insane. And on defense, if you need to, you can just chuck their opponents off and you can just basically prevent a goal. Even if it looks like they're about to walk it in, you can just chuck them over you and you're going to be able to defend really easily. So that's why I think El Primo is really fit for Brawl Ball. And I definitely think his star power you want to be using, if you have Meteor Rush, I think it is the better one, because that extra speed allows him to just get around the map a lot easier. And in Brawl Ball, speed is everything. I think people a lot of times underestimate the importance of speed, but like, if you have speed, it's literally the difference between scoring a goal and not. Just being able to get there in time is really important. And if you're playing El Primo, I definitely recommend for some comps, definitely want to be using Poco double tank, because with that Poco healing, El Primo is basically unbeatable, so definitely play him in Brawl Ball. Next brawler we're jumping into is going to be Barley. Now, I think Barley is definitely usable in both Siege and Heist, but in my opinion, from what I've seen through my experience, I think right now Heist currently is just going to be a little bit better for him. He's really good zone control. I think he should be playing, depends on your comp, but most of the time I like to play Barley quite offensively, because he deals with quite a bit of damage onto the safe, especially since he's got that super, which is really great zone control. And if an opponent tries to get close up to you, you can just use your gadget really effectively, like just taking them out. You can see right here, we're dealing with the Nita. We just use that gadget really effectively. And you can see, look how much damage we've done. Their safe is already down to below 40%, and our safe is still at 97%. So you can see Barley's definitely really good, and make good use of the walls, right? Barley's a really good thrower, so make sure you're trying to just, go around the walls, using that gadget to slow down enemies who are trying to get in your way. You can see we're still alive. And if you're using Barley, definitely use a star power that's going to heal him up when he throws a shot. But yeah, next brawler we're jumping into is going to be my boy Poco. Now, I think Poco can be used very well in both Gem Grab and in Brawl Ball if you use Poco double tank, but personally I just found Poco to be a lot better in Brawl Ball, because when you're using double tanks in Brawl Ball, it's just so hard to kill. Like, you can pretty much guarantee that you'll be able to just walk it in if you play it right. Like, Poco has so much healing in Brawl Ball, and it's just completely insane. Like, it's really hard to take out two tanks, especially with the Poco. And make sure you're using De Capo though, because De Capo is like literally the best star power to use unless you're playing solo showdown, which I would not recommend. But I definitely think with Poco, his best mode's going to be Brawl Ball. It's extremely OP, especially if you're playing Frank. I would definitely say Frank is one of the best brawlers you can pair with Poco, because Frank already has like close to 10,000 HP if you're using the Sponge star power. On top of the Poco healing, it's just going to be unkillable. You're going to be getting really easy goals. Poco double tank is definitely going to be one of the best kind of comps you can use if you're trying to push up in trophies. And another good tip I want to give with Poco is that with your gadget, you want to be trying to use it on multiple people. Like, don't just use your gadget on yourself. That's not getting really good value. Try and use the gadget to, heal up both you and your teammates so that you're getting the most value. So that you're going to be able to heal up teammates for 5 minutes a second, which is going to make a huge difference. But right there, you can see, look at how much healing we're getting. We're not going to be taken out right there. And they're just giving up at this point, because you can see how much HP we have on our team. We have Dynamike, we have a Frank, just really OP. But the next brawler we're jumping into now with is going to be my boy Rosa. Now, Rosa is such a good tank right now, especially on Gem Grab. I think any maps that have a lot of grass, you should definitely be using Rosa, because that star power allowing her to heal 200 per second is really huge. And especially if you have a gadget to put down your own grass, it's really good. You can see we're not going to die a single time in this game. Really crazy stuff. Look at how we're just connecting the grasses on the enemy side so they don't know where we are. They're just playing a guessing game. We're just going to come out there and get our super onto the M's. And it's absolutely OP. We're going to put down more grass, and you can see their entire side is literally just filled up with grass. Look at us using that super, like, literally unkillable, guys. If you have a Poco with this, it's going to be even better. Like, we didn't even have a Poco to heal us up yet. We were still able to just stay alive. You can see using that, and look, like, they just can't kill us, man. They literally just can't kill us. We're just staying alive the entire time, even with Spike, even with M's trying to kill us. We're just staying alive, doing a great job of keeping our position. You can see, I'm going to be able to take out the Barley. We're staying alive. Like, we haven't went down a single time. The M's and the Barley and the Spike, all of them are pretty low HP, so we're just able to, like, 3-shot them every single time. And literally, they have not even gotten close to our gem carry, so that's really, really good. That's the main goal. Don't pick up gems with Rosa, guys, because you want to be playing as aggressive as possible, just preventing the enemy from crossing, spawn trapping them. So you can see how effectively we played Rosa right there. Did not go down a single time. So I definitely recommend playing Rosa in gem grab. Next brawler that we're hopping into is going to be my boy Rico. Now, Rico by far has to be the best brawler to be using. You want to be using him in definitely heist. I would say he's usable in other game modes like Brawl, definitely, but for sure, like, there's so many walls in a lot of heist maps that Rico just excels so much. You can use either star power. I just prefer to use Robo Retreat, but the super bouncy also works really well because there's so many walls in heist. I think that it's just absolutely a must to play Rico. Like, on this map, you gotta have Rico in your comp. You can see how much damage Rico can just do. Like, we're just literally sitting here bouncing shots off the wall, and that's just gonna allow you to hit the safe when other brawlers aren't able to, which is a huge advantage to be having right there. Rico should be focusing on defense for sure, but in this game, I'm just basically playing offense because I'm playing with randoms, so I want to make sure that we're taking down the safe. You can see we're going to get a very nice sweeper. Rico's range is definitely another thing that makes him so good in heist. Able to do decent damage from a far distance is just going to be so good. And you can see right here, Colt, Rico, and Spike is definitely one of the best comps you want to be using. Right, but the next brawler we're going to be using is Darryl. I think Darryl has kind of fallen out of the meta. He was kind of really OP before gadgets were a thing, but after gadgets came out, he's just been getting nerfed, like steel hoops as well. And his gadget isn't really the greatest, so I definitely think right now you want to be playing Darryl in heist because that's really one of his only viable modes. I think he's also decent in Brawl though, but definitely recommend him using the star power with a double reload. Is going to be absolutely OP, and we're actually going to win this one on 1%. Our safe literally at 168, but we're going to be able to take the win right there. So use Darryl in heist. But next brawler we're jumping into now is with Penny. I think Penny is definitely going to be best in gem grab because gem grab is the mode where you need to have a lot of control, and with Penny's turret, the control that you get is so just crazy. Like, you can literally just see the most important thing I want to focus on in every game if I'm using Penny is going to be focusing on getting that turret. But you can see right here, just trying to land shots. Personally, I think her new gadget's really good. I think better than the old gadget, because the old gadget, what I hated about it was that it literally, like, removed her cannon. Like, it destroyed her turret, which was literally the best part about Penny. And whereas the new gadget, it's kind of the same effect of firing a barrage of shots, except that your turret gets to stay alive, which I think is so much better than the last one. So if you guys have the new gadget, definitely use the new gadget. And in my opinion, it's going to allow you to do a lot more damage than before for sure, because you can kind of control where the shots are going now. Like, it's going to be landing in a certain place and you know exactly where it is. But I think Penny should be playing mid for sure. Like, if you guys are playing Penny, make sure you're playing mid because that's what she excels at. And once you get her turret up, it's basically game over. Really hard for the opponents to come back from that. But you can just see here, we're making good use of that ability to just, like, have that extra range. But you can see they're literally not able to do anything. We're just putting a turret down. I'm just going to explode it for fun. Literally just completely annihilating the opponents. Definitely use Penny in gem grab, guys. Her best mode for sure. Now, the next brawler we're jumping in with is going to be my boy Carl. Carl has been really good recently in the meta. He's been getting quite a few buffs, so that's been making him really good. I think his best mode is definitely going to be in Brawl. Even though he's decent in, like, gem grab, he's decent in other game modes, but I think in Brawl he really shines. Personally, I do think that the protective pirouette's really good, but since, like, all these gadgets are coming out now, which prevent him, kind of, it just, like, takes away his protective pirouette when you get, like, gadgeted or stunned. I think the faster throw rate from the other star power is going to be also very viable. Just comes down to personal preference, but definitely play Carl in Brawl. Like, the ability to just, like, get so much control, that super is so good, and I think his best mode is definitely going to be Brawl right now. Although if you wanted to play him in, like, duo showdown or gem grab, it could work. You know, his gadget's really bad, so the way you want to use his gadget is basically wait for his super. Once you get the super, you can activate the gadget, and that'll actually get you a decent amount of value. Now, with Carl, he's definitely, you want to be playing Carl as a lane brawler because that's what he excels at. But right here, you can see we're just trying to get really good value. And keep in mind that I'm playing all these games with randoms just so you guys get a good idea of how this will play out realistically, because I know a lot of people just play with randoms. So, but the next brawler we're jumping in with is going to be my boy Jackie. Now, Jackie, obviously, used to be one of the best brawlers in the game as well, but has just kind of fallen off as a result of all the nerfs. But she's still really, really good in Brawl Ball, in my opinion. I think this is definitely one of the best game modes she has, because her gadget, which increases her movement speed, is so incredibly good in Brawl Ball, where speed is one of the most important factors to whether or not you can score a goal, guys. I think a lot of times people kind of just underestimate that gadget. Even though the speed has been decreased, 20% speed is still very, very good, and 3 uses of that gadget in Brawl Ball is going to make a lot of good plays for your team. You can score the goal a lot easier if you're using that gadget, so definitely recommend using Jackie in Brawl Ball. Like in Gem Grab, Jackie's just not going to be that good because, first of all, there's not a lot of like maps where it's just like really closed in. Most of the Gem Grab maps are very open, which Jackie is not good for. Jackie excels in maps where it's closed in, and a lot of the Brawl Ball maps are very, very closed in, very tight. So definitely recommend using Jackie in Brawl Ball. But the next brawler we're jumping in with now is going to be my girl Piper. Now, Piper is one of those brawlers that completely dominates Bounty. She's been good in Bounty ever since she was released, guys. So definitely recommend using Piper in Bounty. Literally pretty much every single map you can use Piper in Bounty. But Piper's really not that good in other modes, like really not that good in Siege, really not that good in Gem Grab, really not good in Solo Showdown. So definitely recommend using her because Bounty, pretty much all the maps are long range, and that's exactly what you want to be using. With Piper, the star power I recommend you guys use on maps with more grass. Definitely use the star power that increases her damage. On maps where there's not a lot of grass, you want to be using the snappy sniping star power. And for the gadget, I think homemade recipe is going to be a little bit better in Bounty, just because most of the time you're going to be at a distance anyways, and that homemade recipe allows you to increase that range and kind of just get that homing shot, allowing you to get a lot more kills, and just that extra edge is really important for Piper. I think she can be paired really well with like brawlers like Brock. She can be paired really well with like Tick, but in Bounty is exactly where you need to be playing her. Like, if you want to push high with Piper, definitely push her in Bounty. Personally, I think I've always loved playing Piper. Like, I think she's one of the most high skill cap brawlers. So if you want to get better at this game, like better at leading shots, better at aiming, definitely want to be playing her in Bounty, which is where I think she shines a lot. And you can see right here, we're in the lead, 19-13. Look at that homing shot. We're going to continuously just abuse that homing shot right here. You can see, about to use that homing shot again on the Carl right here, and that's just going to hit him right there. Like, we literally just use that homing shot ability so well, we're going to be able to get the kill as well, even though we went down. 20 seconds left. You can see I'm playing with a bunch of randos who are just kind of doing their thing. But right here you can see Piper, once again, with that extra damage is so effective, guys. So make sure you're using that, because that's just going to give Piper such a good advantage. But right here, you can see we have 31-25 lead. So really, really good stuff. And yeah, definitely recommend using Piper in Bounty. Next brawler we're going to be jumping in with is going to be Pam. Now, this was actually a really, really close game where we played against very, very pro players. But I recommend playing Pam in Gem Grab. I think definitely her role as a gem carrier in Gem Grab is something that you have to respect. Like, she's really not that good in Brawl Ball. Like, I think in Gem Grab, that her ability to heal and provide that extra like healing to her teammates as well is really, really important and underrated. You can see we actually have 5 spectators right here. But I think in Gem Grab, the better star power for her is actually going to be Mama's Squeeze, because, you know, a lot of walls in Gem Grab, and allowing Pam to kind of just place those turrets around the walls will just create a lot of zone control. I think Pam is also really good in Solo Showdown on certain maps like Dark Passage, Passageway. But for the most part, I think you want to be playing Pam in Gem Grab. You can see we're just able to hold control. She's really, really tanky, really, really good. We're going to be able to just heal up right there. Almost went down, but we're able to stay alive. And Jessie right here just creating a lot of good value. Surge, Jessie, and Pam, really, really good right here. You can see we're actually barely able to get out with that 10th gem. Able to just sneak out away with it. And that's basically going to be crucial to us winning the game here. But I think another reason why Pam is so good is because of her range, where in Gem Grab, like, the range is really important, because if you can chip down the opponent's gem carriers and just help out with the extra range, it's going to be really, really good in Gem Grab. For sure. So play Pam in Gem Grab for sure. Next brawler we're jumping into right here is going to be Frank. Now Frank is definitely one of the best Brawl Ball players. Like, he has so much HP, it's absolutely insane. If you're not playing Frank in Brawl Ball, you definitely should be, because it's basically where he's most viable. Like, that extra HP just allows him to be so effective. But the next brawler I want to be talking about is BB. Once again, play BB in Brawl Ball, guys. All these tanks, you mostly want to be playing them in Brawl Ball, because, like, their extra HP just allows them to walk in a lot of shots. And with BB, I definitely recommend the star power for her would be the the home run star power for maps where there's, like, a really big necessity to get speed. But I think her other star power, batting stance, given that shield, is also really, really good. Now for B, I think one of the most underrated showdown brawlers. I think people always think B has to be played in Gem Grab, has to be played in Brawl Ball, but no. In my opinion, B is actually really effective in solo showdown. This is where I pushed my B to rank 33, so I think she's definitely very good in solo showdown. Next brawler I want to talk about is Nani. I think the best mode to play Nani in is definitely Gem Grab. That ability to just continuously hit for a lot of damage. Also, Nani's gadget to teleport onto their gem carrier is really, really important. And, like, you can just see just that really, really effective. Next, we'll talk about Mortis. And no, Mortis, you do not want to play Mortis in Brawl Ball. Yes, it's cool, but I definitely recommend playing Mortis in Bounty, because there's a lot of low HP brawlers that Mortis can deal a lot of good damage against. And Mortis is really effective at getting the first star in Bounty, which is really important as well. Next brawler we're going to be talking about is Tara. I think Tara, her best mode is definitely going to be Brawl Ball. Just the ability to make these game-breaking plays is going to make her really, really good in Brawl Ball. Next brawler we're talking about is Jean. Now Jean, I think, can be played decently in Siege, but I think for the most part you want to play Jean in Gem Grab, because Jean's pull can literally change the game. You can be losing 9-0, 10-0, but once you use that Jean pull, the game completely changes. You're going to completely change the tide of the game. Also, that gadget allowing you to stay safe as a gem carrier. But that Jean pull is definitely the #1 reason why you should be playing Jean in Gem Grab. So if you have Jean, make sure to use in Gem Grab, okay? Next brawler we're talking about is Max. Now Max, once again, the extra power is so effective, so make sure to use Max in Brawl Ball. Brawl Ball definitely Max is the best mode, because that speed and that ability to just Next brawler we're talking about is Mr. P. Now Mr. P is really effective excel the most, because obviously Gem Grab is a mode where control is really important, and Mr. P's porta bots, that constant pressure is going to allow you to just push the enemies back and to keep control really effectively, and that long range also helps a lot with him. So definitely play Mr. P in Gem Grab. Next brawler that we're talking about is going to be my guy, Sprout. You guys all know I love Sprout. He's been nerfed a lot, but I think the best place to play Sprout right now is definitely Bounty. That extra range, that extra damage, really good to be playing Sprout in Brawl Ball, as well as Bounty. But the next brawler I want to be talking about is going to be Spike, and Spike is just absolutely insane, guys. If you guys do not know, Spike's gadget literally does so much damage to the safe. It's completely game breaking if you leave him on the safe. So definitely play Spike in Heist. Now, Crow, one of the best brawlers right now in Solo Showdown, but really, really bad in other games. I definitely think you should be playing Crow in Solo Showdown. And Leon, for a long time, has been really, really bad in 3v3, but I think Leon is definitely one of the best Solo Showdown brawlers, so play Leon in Solo Showdown. And for Sandy, I think Sandy's super creates so much control and so much zoning that you definitely want to be playing that in Gem Grab. Like, in Gem Grab with that Sandy super, definitely use Rude Sands to just create a lot of zoning control, and also that ability to just keep that kind of team spirit alive. With that super, you can kind of stay invisible. Really, really good for Gem Grab to sneak up on their gem carrier. Now for Gale, Gale has just been broken in all kinds of game modes, but in my opinion, he's most broken in Siege, because the ability to use a jump pad just to jump continuously and just keep going, continuously putting pressure and getting those bolts is going to be so good for him. Now for Surge, we guys all know Surge is the newest brawler, completely broken, but in my opinion, definitely play him in Gem Grab, because he can just continuously build up supers and stay alive. Whereas in a mode like Brawl Ball, once you score, he loses all those upgrades that he's just gotten. So I definitely think Gem Grab is the best one, because he can keep those upgrades for the whole game as long as he stays alive. Thank you so much, guys, for watching the entire video. I just want to take another quick moment to thank you guys so much for the support. I hope you guys enjoyed, and until next time, peace.